Hello, I'm Erin Hinton, and this is ECCE 2203, Guidance and Classroom Management with Mrs. Abercrombie. So the assignment that I'm doing today is our infant and toddler positive behavior and challenging behavior project. So I wanted to talk about the positive behavior supports that we saw in this video. The main thing that they started off with was learning how to observe and be cognizant and think about what that behavior is. What does it mean? What is the child truly trying to express? Because every type of behavior is a form of communication, even with infants. I thought it was fascinating how they were talking about an infant. Their behavior will always be on the lower level of a pyramid, which is basic necessities, and their behavior will never increase into something that you would have to have an individualized behavior plan for. Because typically infants are either crying for food, or they need a diaper change, something of that nature. As they get a little older into toddler and preschool and pre-K, that's when you start to get into the behaviors that need a little bit more coaching and support in a behavioral intervention type of situation. You always want to make sure that you match the child's developmental level. So you could have 4 preschoolers doing the same activity in the classroom, and 3 out of the 4 are going to be on the same developmental plane, and you might have one that is either advanced or behind in that situation. So you want to make sure that all throughout the year you are paying attention to your children, you are assessing them, making observations, documenting, so that way you are truly helping each individual child in a very systematic and detailed manner. And they call that the individualized teaching support. When you're developing a behavior plan, that's where that all is going to come into play. You want to make it short and concise. You want it to be something that is easy for the child to grasp. In the video, there was a scenario which is very common in early childhood. There was one child playing with an item, a toy. The other child wanted it. So they reached out to grab it, crying, very upset. So they talk about planning a replacement skill. So what you want to do is think about a way that that child can still communicate what their want, their need, or their desire is, and help them find a way to do that in a more positive manner. So instead of grabbing, snatching, pulling, hitting, you could do the open hand ask, where you teach the child, if someone has the red marker and I really want to draw a red heart, I would do an open hand ask, and instead of snatching that marker away from my friend. And you also want to build that rapport with that child's family, so that way when you are discussing any changes, you can inform the family and just say, we are working on our open hand grasps and learning how to use our words when we would like a friend to share a toy or a material. A side note on that, it is a best practice, if you notice through your observations that there are certain toys or materials that children tend to try to tussle over, might be a good idea then to get a few of that item. So if the red marker continues to be utilized a lot, maybe stock up on those red markers. If everybody loves the big blue ball and they don't really play so much with the tiny little yellow ball, maybe incorporate a couple more big blue balls into that classroom. That will kind of help. You want to sometimes if you can head it off from happening, and that's the best. Just try to, that's where we use our thinking caps and go back over our observation notes, and we try to think of ways that we can stop those things from happening. That way we can focus our teaching on what's right in front of us in the moment. The last thing I want to leave us with is probably what I think is most important is that as teachers, we need to be mindful of how we are reacting to these situations. It can be a lot when you are in a classroom and you have all these little bodies and big emotions, big feelings. Some of them maybe didn't get enough sleep the night before. They didn't get to eat breakfast before they got here. So you just have to be mindful, press pause sometimes, and take some deep breaths and think about how is the best way to approach this child and this situation. Children can feed off of our energy, so if we get frustrated, they're going to feel that frustration on top of what they already feel. So that's where that mindfulness practice comes into play. And we expect our children to learn how to be socially and emotionally responsible and level-headed. So that's just a reminder for all of us in this field to continue to take care of ourselves and learn how to manage those situations with calmness and concern and nurturing at all times. Thank you for listening.